One more time.
Sırbistan'ı ezmeliyiz.
Oh.
We must crush Serbia is what that is in Turkish.
Oh, perfect. Great. This will be the first episode.
We're restarting the Balkan Wars.
This will somehow be like the first episode of the podcast that like Pharma and his circle of people on Tumblr, like Serbian Tumblr, gets a hold of it and be like, oh, fuck these guys. Bunch of Turkish sympathizers.
I have zero
Fucking-
for the Turks.
Fucking cockroaches. Ergodon, that watermelon seller.
He doesn't even sell his own watermelon. He's a son of a watermelon seller.
Exactly. Okay. Let me make sure this is... Yeah, all right, there we go. Oh, man. So did you... I take it you saw my post about people essentially adopting the Gadsden flag, specifically the snake.
Yeah.
Have you seen what I've been talking about, like, around?
Dude, I've seen this for years. I've seen it for a very long time, like the "We'll step on snake"
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay, that's
like,
that's true. That's
memeing.
Yeah.
I've never seen it from a right-wing person before.
So
I
if I
haven't
can
seen that.
find
I'm
it
curious.
on Tumblr, I'll see if I can find it again. But I also like kind of hope I don't, just because it makes me angry. But yeah, on the left, I mean, you've got I Will Step on Snake. You've also had like originally, I think back earlier, they used to depict themselves with like a mongoose like attacking the snake, because it's like, oh, what can beat a rattlesnake? Oh, a mongoose will beat a rattlesnake. Yeah, man, yeah, that'll totally work. Like we can do that. And then now,
Just, like Googling like Animal Planet factoid
yeah, literally.
to like as a way to counteract
What
your meme.
are natural predators of rattlesnakes? Mongoose. And then more recently, I saw it was just like a cat, like some random cat was like biting a snake, but it wasn't like "I'll tread where I please" or anything like that. It was like was like the cat was defensively attacking the snake, and it's like,
Well, there's the black cat is like the general left anarchist thing.
But it wasn't a black
So,
cat,
I
though.
don't
That's
know
the thing.
if
It had
that-
stripes, from what I remember. But still, like,
Oh,
in general,
like
like,
a
I could see,
tabby.
like, yeah, maybe. But it was definitely, like, you know, like, of course it was a leftist thing, and of course it was, like, specifically they were talking about, like, transphobia. And it's like, oh, okay. I see where you're going with this, and again, like, I'm going to attack you for not playing along with my charade. Is just, it doesn't work that way. I'll just leave it at that. But the right-wing one, I'm actually going to check my For You page, or the For You to Make You Hate, oh, Jesus, things. Let's see. No? Okay. I'll have to keep scrolling. But essentially what it was a picture of a Gadsden flag. And it's got, the first one's like what my politics used to be. And it's just the normal Gadsden flag from back in the day. And then the next thing is what my politics are now. And it's a picture of Mary, like, trampling on a snake. And it's something along the lines of like, God tells me where to tread. And I will, or something like, I will tread where God tells me, or something like that. And it's like,
What?
I got some replies to this. And one of the replies was, okay, they're thinking of the snake in the Garden of Eden, which of course represents the devil, Satan. So I get that, you know, like, iconography of, like, St. George, for example, like slaying the serpent or like trampling on a snake as them defeating Satan, that's not anything new, really. But when you take the Gadsden flag and you use that snake specifically, and you use the Gadsden flag as like your thematic content, like, you don't understand what the Gadsden flag is about, and B, like, you're aligning yourself with the same forces that crucified Jesus. Like, you're aware of this. right? Like you're backing the state. You want to become the jackboot of Caesar. This is like what you're depicting. It's yeah, and like I saw a bunch of people being like, yeah, like there's also like the shitting on libertarians, which is totally fine. Like it's I was thinking about this today, like the perception of like kind of like right wing libertarianism or right wing anarchism, how that perception is for most other people is like the mainstream libertarian party, which unfortunately has been a joke. Which that's what you get, for trying to vote your way out of the problem. But jeez, I just like we've come to this point where there are people who a few years ago, unironically, like were considering themselves to be like right libertarian leading to an extent, and now like they're throwing this out there, and it'd be one thing if they actually were like, no, actually I do want to be like, an authoritarian, but they don't necessarily argue from that standpoint, which I would appreciate more if they did, because they'd be more honest, but they don't, and it's like you don't understand what you're saying.
Well, okay, I think there's two problems that went on here, and one problem is that we had the Libertarian Party itself be captured basically by its left wing caucus
Mm-hmm.
every time it runs a presidential candidate. And this isn't because the left wing caucus of the Libertarian Party is a majority. It's just that it's the plurality between like the more or less pragmatic libertarians and then the extreme like Mises anarcho libertarians. So like I think if there was a party composed of people who really liked Milton Friedman and Ludwig von Mises,
Mm-hmm.
and then they each made up like, let's just throw a random number out there, 30% of the party,
Mm-hmm.
but 33%, so that's 60% of the party,
Mm-hmm.
but then like 40% of the party, or maybe like really 35% of the party, is people who really love Noam Chomsky.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit. We get Noam Chomsky every fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you're looking for a good follow on Twitter, um, not only is the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire a good one, but Jeremy Kaufman, who primarily runs that account,
Mm-hmm.
are you familiar with Jeremy Kaufman?
I am now. No,
Okay,
but
well,
no.
so you've
Otherwise,
never heard of him?
no, not before
Oh,
now.
he is a great. You know how every political extremist movement is dominated by Jewish people
Somehow, yes,
somehow. So
that tends to happen.
like you look at the Green Party, like this would be a anti-Semitic conspiracy theory for libertarians if we also did not admit that our entire movement is led by Murray Rothbard and
Milton
Ludwig von
Friedman
Mises, who was an Austrian Jew,
and Ludwig von
and
Mises,
Milton
yeah,
Friedman,
yeah.
and nowadays our modern heroes, like after Ron Paul, is Dave Smith,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like one of the more rising stars is Jeremy Kaufman in the LPNH. But let me see. It might be fun to look at some of his tweets here.
So what you're saying is the early
But
life history of most right libertarianism is pretty notable.
listen, the thing is it's if you're a anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist, you will see it everywhere,
Yeah.
and that's because when and like people, I don't know if we've really addressed the JQ on the podcast
No,
before,
we really
but
haven't addressed the Jewish question on the podcast before, Max.
but when you look at a group that has an average IQ that's like 115. They're going to dominate all parts of the spectrum politically as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like anti-Semitic people will go out there and be like, "Oh, Jewish people are like the leftist progressive globalists like George Soros who are dominating our culture." And we really need to listen to Dave Smith about how we should tackle globalism and like use anarcho-capitalism to overcome it. And
Yeah.
it's like, guess what, bro? it's so. Am I coming at you from left field over here?
No, that it makes complete sense actually. Like I also remember, I don't remember the name of the movie, but there's this movie about this old Jewish guy, and I don't remember if it's a city in the US or a city in America, but he's just like this old Jewish guy who lives alone, and the movie is mostly told from the perspective of people who like live around him and like encounter him on a daily basis. And they're always remarking about like various stereotypes about him, but the stereotype comes up about like him being cheap or like being like tight with money or something like that. And it's like, why are all of you people like this essentially? And the line, which if you don't think the Holocaust happened, like you're just gonna go, pfft, which and it is like you got to keep in mind too. This movie's probably 50 plus years old. Like I think it was in black and white. But when they made this movie, he was like, well, if you were put into a situation where you had to ration out your food for an indefinite period of time and you had no idea when you were able to like escape and go get more or replenish yourself or be free of captivity or something like that, you're probably going to keep a really close eye on your supplies. Like you're going to be on top of that or you're going to die. So if you don't develop that skill, you die. So over time, okay, you have these people who, if you believe the Holocaust happened, were were killed off, and the people who were left had maybe they had a skill like that, was being suggested here. But also
I would, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say historically, being like the money changer or banker or whatever was also kind of seen as like a not good business to be in. Like it was almost a business of ill repute. So it was, for example, difficult, almost impossible at certain times for Christians to get into banking and say offer other Christians loans or let them borrow money because usury is a sin, and arguably like interest is can be argued at a certain point to be a form of usury, and that will come down to a matter of opinion. So the easiest thing to do is to not put yourself in that situation and have somebody who's not Christian do it, which in Europe would have mostly probably been Jews. So you have a bunch of Jews who were in this profession because it was like one of the few professions they were essentially like, yeah, you go do that. That's what we need you to do. That's what we'll let you do. And you just do that. So that way, when you charge me, 1 shilling interest on my loan, you can just put the sin into a chicken and kill it and try to fool God. That won't work, but that's not my problem. So, like, whew. All right. Our special guest tonight is Nick Fuentes.
I was gonna say is the modern Jewish people you encounter are people who have held out for 2,000 years against all conversion attempts against them. And so generally you're going to find that they're a very strongly opinionated person. Like if there's any genetic component to having like ornery, like strong opinions, whatever they are, like they would be selected for that. Exactly. As far as like, yeah, I'm not converting or whatever it is. And yeah, that was just another one observation you would find is that, yeah, there on any political extreme, you will find a lot of those folks around. But what started me on this tangent?
The fez you're wearing. I was gonna say, like, it's amazing.
Oh, the fez.
You wear a fez, and like all of a sudden we're addressing the Jewish question. Like, before we continue to I don't know, plot some sort of final or semi-final solution to the problem. Let me go kick the intro in, and we'll get the rest going. And here we go. Hello,
So the
everyone.
ADL.
It's the, the ADL does not want me to wish you a very welcome to episode 188 of the Altar Podcast, or the Ottoman Podcast, as in the thing you put your feet on. It's kind of like an altar. Max, how do you say hello in Turkish again?
Oh, I forgot
Oh,
already. I
fuck.
don't
All
look
right,
it up
that's
on
fine.
Google Translate.
All right, if you're cool, you already saw it because you're in pre-show with us. So if you didn't see it, do better next time, I guess, is what I have to say about that. So tonight, we got a few things to talk about. We were just kind of addressing the Jewish question a little bit. Um, may or may
I think
not.
we're on the same page, which is that like there is no grand conspiracy.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Like there are no actual protocols of the Elders of Zion. Like the text does exist, but it's no more an accurate depiction of it any more than the musical The Book of Mormon is an accurate description of Mormonism. Likenesses aside.
Oh, and I wanted to ask you about
Mm.
Mormonism,
Oh boy.
right?
All right.
Because yeah, not not that you're actually Mormon
No,
or
of course.
anything like that.
I'm wearing a cross. They don't do that.
Yeah. Um, so it's so funny when we'll be like at a bar, and I'll like start saying something about Islam or Mormons,
hmm
and my girlfriend's fiance looks at me. It's like, don't say that. Like there could be a Mormon right behind us. I'm like, at a bar.
At a bar? That's I think that's why all of the churches in Utah that are not like Mormon churches, like that, not that they have churches, they have temples. But the churches that
Yeah.
are like Protestant or Catholic or non-denominational all tend to, well, not the Catholic ones necessarily, but otherwise they will have like coffee just like out there in the lobby, and it's like, yeah, have some coffee before you come in.
Ah,
Yeah, have some coffee. Have some coffee. Just try the
yeah.
coffee. Have some coffee. Yeah, coffee. Drink the coffee. Drink the coffee so we know. Drink the coffee. Drink it. It's free.
What
Actually, I did have one
of the
church that
Mormon
like
people?
I don't this is not me like talking negatively about that church at all, and I will not name them, but like they, they give you, when you walk in the first time, you get a pass for a free coffee from their beverage cart, but after that it's like chargeable, which like is fair if they want to do that. But I'm also just kind of like, yeah, like most churches, like they kind of just give the coffee away. Like you don't have to. Like I'm not expecting you to give me free things, but
Is it like boutique coffee, or is it just
kind
like
of like they're
normal
trying.
grocery store
I
coffee?
would say it's gentrified coffee, so it's an attempt at being boutique, but it's really just like they run across to Costco and buy a bunch of Kroger's brand coffee and just serve it up different ways, which is fine. You could totally do that. I'm not expecting 5-star Golden
I
Right
won't
coffee.
complain about that, but
Yeah,
just don't
man.
like charge me several dollars for
Yeah,
what is essentially a 10-cent cup of coffee.
like especially like, can I give you proof that I'm tithing? Does that mean I get proper access to the coffee? Can I use the bathroom without putting a quarter in the slot? But the other churches, like
Turns into Europe. You
yeah,
gotta.
church in like Scandinavia, especially like you ask for a glass of water and they ask you for a tip.
The priest sends you a Venmo request after you wash your hands.
It's like it's the praying hands, but there's like a faucet under it. Oh shit! What was I talking about?
I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
totally
coffee,
forgot.
right? Yeah. So like the other churches I've been to, and the one I am a regular member of now, where I got baptized, they just give you coffee, and like I don't always have coffee during like I the first churches when I first started attending services again, I was going to Catholic masses, so I don't. I don't really. I'm not in the whole like I need to be drinking fluid or consuming anything outside of the Eucharist um, during a service. Which again, not judging anybody who like needs some water, or like maybe you're in the early service and you worked all night, but you wanted to like get this service in so you could go spend the rest of the day with your family. So you're having a little coffee. Sure, whatever. That's fine. I totally get that. But like I personally don't always partake in the coffee. But like it's I already yeah I've already proven I'm not Mormon. Like they've watched me get baptized in the river, so like I've got the card now. But
Well, so my understanding is that like the specific text or whatever that they follow is that they don't have any hot drinks. right?
I've asked
That's
several Mormon individuals about this I've
um
asked
that's
several Mormon individuals about this who are like younger and older. So like the older ones of course have been around for all of the major doctrine changes the Mormon church has made. So I've heard them talk about like they don't want anything that's like supposed to be like like mind altering, which is also why they don't drink, for example, like a cold alcoholic drink is because alcohol will like alter your state of mind. Caffeine arguably does that. Nicotine arguably does that. But like it's this tongue in cheek thing in Utah where you can drink soda that has caffeine, and you can't like maybe you can't have coffee, but you can have an energy drink. Like no coffee for me. I'm gonna have 3 White Monsters or 2 Celsiuses or something like that, and it's like that probably has more caffeine than coffee, depending on how much coffee you're drinking and what kind, and if it's like a canned or brewed or whatever. But like that's way more caffeine than coffee.
it's generally way more caffeine.
It's
Yes.
also like you would have to drink a lot of coffee to like overdose on caffeine. Like you probably could over the course of a day. It's real easy. You could pound energy drinks like real quick and absolutely like over caffeinate yourself to like a medically alarming extent. It's
Yeah,
real easy.
no, I mean if you have like borderline health and like you have any amount of like aerobic cardiac issues and you drink too much like energy drink, like it will cause issues. Like to the point that like they don't even for pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like one thing to like have like a low caffeine coffee
Yeah.
for ladies. Like generally they'll just tell you like no caffeine for pregnant woman.
Mm-hmm.
But what they really mean is like don't have an energy drink
Yeah.
basically because like
Yeah.
that's way too much and it'll increase your blood pressure really high and everything like that. But um yeah, it's funny because at least even Muslims were like, oh, nicotine and caffeine, like those those don't do the same thing that alcohol does.
Yeah. Exactly.
Essentially, when you look at all the rules of like Islam
Mm-hmm.
and Judaism, it's more or less tailored to a culture that has to survive in the desert
Mm-hmm.
and cannot waste water on
Mm-hmm.
pigs
Yeah.
and alcohol. Uh, in the case of like Arabs living in like the deep desert,
Mm-hmm.
the Judaism like kind of originated in the Levant in the border area where like oh yeah like there's frankly like alcohol like grapes and wine is the
Mm-hmm.
only clean way to like
Consume
consume
water.
water
Yeah.
at a certain point. So yeah, it's which is also the funniest thing to me when like I see like a Baptist whatchamacallit, like storybook
Mm-hmm.
version of the Bible. And it's like Jesus went to the wedding and turned all of the water into grape juice for everybody to enjoy.
He was like, everybody needs more vitamin C at this wedding, so
And it's like, I'm sorry, grape juice
grape juice
literally did not exist at all in history ever
until they stopped.
until 100 years ago, until pasteurization was invented. We did not have grape juice. There was
Mhm.
low strength wine and high strength and normal wine. You know, that was all you had. Like you if you mashed grapes and made it into grape juice, guess what? It turned into wine.
It turned into
That's
wine. It does that. It just
that's
does
all that
that.
happened. Unless you pasteurize it, which was not a process developed until the mid 1800s.
Hmm.
You had wine. There's no such thing as grape juice.
Yeah.
But I guess it's Jesus. He could technically, instantaneously turn water into grape juice. That would have been novel, honestly, for the wedding at the time. They would
Well, I
have
mean
been
that's
like,
that's contentious
"Oh,
still
this
among
is
some
like sweet
Christians.
wine."
Like, did the wine actually get people drunk? Because like obviously drinking and getting drunk as a result of it is a long-standing thing that Christians have done for hundreds, if not over 1,000 years. But there's this argument in some like really strict religious circles that like you can't drink any alcohol. Like, what was that movie? I think it was Dogma with oh my god, it's Jay and Silent Bob and
Yeah.
like yeah, and like what's her face and like yeah, but like all the angels in the movie, like they're not allowed to actually imbibe alcohol, so they drink and they spit it out immediately afterwards. as kind of like a gag that like that's not allowed. You're not actually allowed to get drunk. But that's like a thing that like is still kind of like you're not supposed to really get drunk at all. Like any feeling of inebriation from consuming alcohol is like a sin in some way. And like some people will treat it as like a different level of sin, like there's venal sins and mortal sins or whatever. And it's like
Mhm.
they were getting drunk. Like maybe they weren't getting like sloppy shit faced and making fools out of themselves, but there were definitely like you said, the only way to safely consume water was to have alcohol in it because otherwise you would shit yourself to death. If you didn't like you were consuming fermented beverages from a very young age properly, which no, probably wasn't the best thing for them, but like it's better than dying from all those waterborne diseases. So it's yeah, like for Mormons specifically, it's of course odd that they don't really allow themselves to do anything, but they'll have all of these tongue-in-cheek ways around it that like are either worse or it's just like why not just do the thing you're not supposed to do because
Right.
like who cares? And of course, like tattoos are a no. So like I have noticed like my church because it's non-denominational is kind of like the landing zone for people fleeing from the Mormon church. Because I'll watch people like come in and like they're very dressed up like they're going to temple, and they'll start to like they'll still dress nice but they'll dress down a little more, and like they'll stop being so like cagey, which is nice. But yeah, like how did we get onto this tangent? Like what were we originally? Shit, man.
Well, okay. Well, okay. We're talking about different religious denominations and
Mm,
how they get specific things that make them give
do
them identities
okay.
that
Yes.
we
Yes.
attach to. And
Okay.
here's where I wanted to actually segue into talking about Mormons
Mm.
was that there was a shooting slash
Oh yeah.
IED at like a
Failed
LDS church in
IED,
Michigan.
thankfully, in Michigan. Yeah. So I've actually been talking to like several. I would say I had three coworkers in today who were Mormons. So we were talking about it a little bit. Four people are confirmed dead beyond the shooter. I think they haven't released the identity or information on like three of them. One of them was a 77-year-old individual, but one of my coworkers had family over there and like they knew somebody who was at church and like she was there with her kids without her husband because her husband is like a surgeon and got called into emergency surgery on Sunday morning, so he couldn't go with them, and she's like, "Oh, it'll be fine." And then that happens. And she's like, "Yeah, it was a day, lol." But yeah, man, like he drove his vehicle into the side of the church. He poured a bunch of gas around the building and like lit it on fire. There were a bunch of like unexploded IEDs in his truck. Thankfully, that did not go off. And he shot four people, I guess, and then got shot by the cops.
Was
I
it the
think.
cops?
I think, or it was. This is the thing. Like, I'm not sure. Like, they were talking about it, and they're not sure if it was like a concealed carrier or somebody who did it. Which, I mean, all the more reason you should be carrying in church if you go to church. But that's another thing too. They don't like enforce it, but it is an official policy of the church, the Mormon church, to not carry firearms in services. Like you're technically not supposed to have a gun on like church ground. They do have armed
Okay.
security, but officially you're not supposed to. They just don't enforce it, which is more of like a if we don't see it, you don't have it, ha 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 type of deal. Which I mean, it's fine. Most private businesses kind of have a thing just because most people don't want to deal with open carriers. And open carrying in a church is kind of tasteless, in my opinion. But yeah, so it's good there was a concealed carrier there, but there was another shooting. Wasn't like the same day by another dude who was also like a military veteran. I need to look this up. Hold on. So,
Oh yeah, the guy who had his like skull was like partially blown off in a friendly fire incident, and
yeah,
then
a
uh,
veteran.
there was this whole like documentary about him, and then yeah, he goes on to like kill a few people in
Yeah,
a
but no, no,
like
this was
mass.
like it was like the same day. Oh yeah, okay, so not the same day, but within the same 48-hour period. So there was the Michigan church shooting on September 28th, a 40-year-old Marine veteran. Allegedly crashed his truck into the church in the Grand Blanc during services, opened fire with an assault rifle, set the building on fire, killing 4 people. Friends indicated the individual held animus towards the Mormon church after a personal issue and had struggled with drug use. The day before, September 27th, a decorated Marine veteran and Purple Heart recipient, Nigel Edge, allegedly opened fire with an assault rifle from a boat at a bar in Southport, killing 3 and injuring several others. Prosecuted stated that Edge had significant mental health issues and a traumatic brain injury, and his former wife said he had been crying out for help for a long time. Now, I saw some stuff about this. Apparently, both these individuals both went through Camp Lejeune at the exact same time. Let me look this up.
You or a family member might be entitled to compensation.
Yeah, Thomas Sanford. And then, oh yeah, the Mormon shooter was Thomas Sanford, and then you have Nigel Edge, Marines.
Didn't he change his name to that? Like, it's not his born.
I don't know. Okay, so yes, they both served at Camp Lejeune. And I think it was the same.
That...
Okay, yeah, so they did overlap. So both Edge and Sanford were stationed at Camp Lejeune during the 2000s. Nigel Edge was stationed from 2003 to 2009, and Sanford from 2004 to 2008. The 2 men were also both deployed to Iraq and both reached the rank of sergeant. There's officially no connection between the 2 or no information or proof that they knew each other, which is fair. But that's, it's... I'm very enthused by these coincidences. Like, this is very enthusing.
Well, there's, on top of that, there's just like these ideas about the Charlie Kirk shooter that had been in like a selective program for like up and coming college students, basically. Like, I think he'd been in like trade school.
Yeah.
But he had been tested throughout high school and was basically like an overachiever, which is exactly the kind of people that, I mean, talk about IEDs at the LDS church, temple, excuse me, that they, the CIA used to be better at teaching people how to build bombs.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, there are...
You don't actually need the PhD in mathematics from Stanford to build a pipe bomb. Like,
not anymore. But there are also like fake plans on the web that are like intentionally put out there so that they don't actually work. So it's possible maybe he had that, or the handler who actually gave him fake bombs. And it was more along the lines of like, oh, if he does this and doesn't do it right, we still have like the bombs to plant on him or whatever. But
yeah,
he also could have just, if he's like addicted to drugs, God knows what kind of drugs, maybe he wasn't exactly doing it right. That's also a possibility. But yeah, like,
the thing is, it's like it's not as though like I've ever built a bomb or anything.
Of course not, or that we have the ability to, or know how to get the resources, or have both video and text instruction on how to make various types of devices. Not at all.
I'm just saying, from any student who's taken a physics class and understands electricity and magnetism, or fuses or stuff like that, like,
or just basic chemistry,
it's
like
me, yeah, it's just weird to me. Like, the Ottomans had grenades, like 800 years ago. Like, that there's such a thing as a failed IED. Like, to me, it would seem like the main type of failed IED would be one that goes off too soon.
Yeah.
Like, I blew myself up in my apartment kind of thing for these guys. Like,
this reminds me of, have you ever seen the movie? Did you ever see The First Speed with Keanu Reeves? It's the bus can't go below 50 or it'll blow up.
I have been on a Keanu Reeves movie kick lately, and that is one we need to go back to. I just watched Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula by
Excellent
Francis Ford
movie.
Coppola.
Excellent. We have all become God's
It is
madmen.
it is one of the best films I have ever
Dude, it's
watched. Like
fantastic.
elevated. Like I think if I watched it as a kid, I
Mm.
wouldn't appreciate it. But like watching it for my first time as
As
like
an
a
adult.
full adult who's like seen a lot of movies,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like this is mastery. Like everything's perfect in this. Like I cannot believe that like this movie was made and like he had the vision to do it and
Yeah.
executed it.
So I also, that reminds me, I
Like every
first
frame's
watched.
a painting. That's the other thing about horror movies and everything today is like
Mm.
there's no fucking color. And
Yeah.
then like in you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula by Coppola, and you're like, holy shit! Like it's just like beautiful. Every scene has just like this rich, luscious palette in
Hmm.
it, and you're like and it doesn't matter that it's dark. Like you could still see everything. Isn't that
Exactly.
crazy? Like
Exactly. So I actually first watched that movie for the first time earlier this year. And like at the same time it was happening, they were actually, the suit of armor he wears, like Vlad, the red
or like
suit
the
of armor.
carapace thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they were auctioning that off recently, and I think it
Oh,
sold
really?
for like, it was like $400,000 on auction. But I literally just watched the movie and they were doing that, and I was just like, where can I? No, that's a house. I don't need a suit of armor. No, 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 no. But how did?
But
Yeah,
no, now we went on another
we
tangent
keep
here.
doing that.
But
So we should probably
MK
also
Ultra
MK Ultra
and how they get these people to commit these attacks and stuff
attacks.
like
Yeah,
that. Like
exactly.
even going back, like I'm honestly surprised that you had two military veterans who were deployed in kind of the peak of the occupation of the Iraq War, definitely had, you know, an abundance of ammunition to like even just shoot into sand berms
Hmm.
um in Iraq or something like that. That like what were the casualty counts? Like 3, 4 basically for each of them.
I believe, yeah, three for the. So Edge killed three, and the other guy killed four.
Yeah, and I'm just it's just curious to me. Not saying like it should have been higher,
Hmm.
obviously, but it's weird that you would get trained military veterans who
Only get three or
against
four.
nom who with in a surprise ambush against a
Yeah,
nominally unarmed, unprepared civilian group in a high concentration, like only get that.
yeah. Meanwhile, you have like, I don't even remember the name of the kid, but you have some dweeby, skinny Asian kid who kills 38 people at Virginia Tech with handguns. Like he has
Played a lot
no
of CS.
played a lot. I guess, man, all that CS:GO, but like how? Yeah, how do
CS:GO
the
back then.
how
Regular CS 1.6.
it would also be interesting, like, not that I want to see video of the attack, but it'd be interesting to see, like, I don't know. I remember watching this documentary once upon a time, and it was dealing with like gang members in the military and how gang members were specifically joining the military to get like military training, which then they could take back to their gangs and trade their gangs with like military training. But they were specifically talking about how there was this video of this individual who was shooting at cops, and like they had him on CCTV, and the dude had like a mask on, and like they didn't know who he was or anything about his background. And then they're watching him, and they notice that he leaves cover and he starts doing like this half moon circle motion while firing. And like there was a guy, I think a cop who was a former, I think it was a Marine, and he was just like, wait a minute, I was taught to do that. We need to be looking for somebody who was in the military. And somehow they were able to like look at, maybe they had like some like descriptions of his tattoos, and were actually able to track down who the individual was, like because they figured out that based on how he was like moving and shooting that he had military training. And again, like not that I want to see the videos of these attacks, but it would be interesting to see if it's an individual who looks like they have military training. Oh, no. Do you remember a couple years ago that dude, I think it was in Dallas, Texas, who went around and was just shooting a bunch of cops? and they eventually cornered him in like a parking garage and killed
Yeah.
him. Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
video online of him essentially crossing this cop up with a rifle, where it's don't go looking for this, everyone, unless you want to see a cop just get shot in the back of the head on film. But like, it's some dude's filming from like a rooftop and he's pointed down and it's like happening at night, and there's this cop hiding behind a pillar and the attacker is like coming at him, and the guy's like up like this and he's like a pretty fluid motion and he's just like bang 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 bang, and the cop's like trying to shoot around the pillar, and what you watch this guy do is he takes cover and shoots around one side, and then as the cop is returning around that same side to return fire, he has already like lowered his rifle and crossed back over onto the other side of the pillar and just comes up and just goes bang bang, like real close range into the cop. And it was like, oh, this is a dude who's had prior military training, essentially balling out on Dallas PD. This is not cool. Which is essentially why they cornered him in a building and like detonated his bomb and killed him with the police robot,
I
allegedly.
remember people were like really upset that like
that they did that.
They used like a drone bomb. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Man,
on a certain level, like you're just lucky they don't start like dropping bombs out of helicopters.
exactly. Like, and also it's kind of like, yeah, man, you're that much of a problem that they don't actually want to send humans to try to kill you because you've killed too many. So they're just going to strap a bomb to a robot and blow you up. Like, that's the problem they were dealing with. It's like, how many more people do you potentially send to their death to deal with this individual whose goal is to take as many people with him? Like, because at that point, you're feeding shelter cats to coyotes. Oh, we should actually probably mention the episode title. The government is currently, quote, shut down, unquote, right now.
Well, I was gonna say this is a perfect segue about how many useless gestures are you gonna make towards a feudal cause?
Yeah.
Which is the government has shut down again, but
Kind of.
the silver lining, kind of like there's some delays in the shutdown, and
Yeah.
like certain agencies are like pretending that it can't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see, because I think there's some contingencies that allow the presidential administration to basically start firing.
Yeah, so I
federal
was
employees
reading
and shut
something on
down
like
the-
Zero Hedge about that, about how like if they don't like come to an agreement within a few days, Trump is going to start mass firing people. But I wanted to make a joke about the fact that like they're bringing up, this is Politico doing this, and like what they're using to focus on, like it's something that both sides, left and right in the U.S., would consider fairly core like things they'd be concerned about, and it's like they're so comically, cartoonishly representative of each side. Like, Vought warned that money is okay. So on Wednesday, OMB chief Russ Vought told House Republicans on a private call that the administration will begin mass layoffs of federal workers in a day or two, according to Politico, citing 4 anonymous individuals. Which I just want to point out real quick. I hate that all news reporting now just comes from the mouths of anonymous individuals familiar with the matter. Like, it's just really lazy shit. Vought warned that money is about to run out for both the nutrition program for low-income moms and babies, known as WIC, and pay for active duty members of the military. And it's just like, all right, you're grabbing one testicle from each animal. Like, you've got one donkey ball and one elephant ball in your hands, and you're like, yeah, if we don't come to a deal, both these balls are just going to fall off, man. Like, you just got to come to a deal. And it's just like the most obvious things. Like, if you would think of the left, it's a comical caricature is really what it is. It's the left is concerned about like low income moms and babies, so probably minority moms and babies. And the left, you have like active duty military, so like the dudes going around killing people for the American empire. Like, we got to make sure they keep getting paid, and we got to make sure the moms and babies keep getting food. But like you said,
I will say the Roman Empire probably lasted a lot longer because the soldiers' salaries were in food.
Yeah. And land.
They didn't, and land.
Yeah.
and they didn't expect dollars or coins. They would get a coin bonus when they came home
Hmm.
from campaign or tours or whatever, but to and like spending money basically, but essentially throughout your entire campaign you were only paid in food. It's like, you guess what, you don't have to farm,
Hmm.
so you better like march and like stab some people. Basically was the deal. And yeah, those legions were much more loyal to the state than I think our modern military members probably
Hmm.
are, in a real visceral way. Because it's like, if you stop paying them, it's not as though they think they'll go home and not be able to eat.
Yeah.
And that is the crux of what keeps a state together.
Hmm.
If you look at, well, okay, a corollary to that is like the Russian Empire or something like that. Like the soldiers weren't getting paid, and they knew that if they deserted, they wouldn't eat. So they're like, oh well, fuck it, we're just gonna overthrow the government and
Hmm.
try and steal whatever food we might think might be stored in the armories or reserves or stuff like that. But as far as like actually building a class of armed men who are loyal to the state, at this point, what I think the government's done is built ICE as that
Hmm.
body of people. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The massive cash bonuses they've been offering, and yeah.
So, and in a very stupid move, I would say, Democrats have by and large said like, oh, not only is like ICE fascist, but we will personally dox and prosecute every ICE police officer should we ever gain power again.
Which is like really the equivalent of you if you want to not have to slaughter your the entire opposing army, you have to be like, hey, listen, if you surrender, you will be treated fairly. We will not kill you. Wink. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, I have that option. If you're like, if you surrender, we're going to kill you anyway or ruin your life anyway, it's kind of like, oh, well, then I guess I better do this harder. Like, I have that much more reason to not fail and prevent you from getting power ever again. And it's like, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. If you want to if you want to always give people an exit route, or at least the illusion of an exit route. It actually goes all the way back to Sun Tzu, that
Mm-hmm.
the objective is not to encircle and surround the enemy and kill them to the last man, because that would be to make them fight to the death,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be disastrous for you as well, because like they will extract extreme casualties if you fight to the death.
Mm-hmm.
The objective of a battle is to convince people that there's always a chance of escape,
Mm-hmm.
and that way they always fight in a way that you can um they always fight basically half-heartedly. Like they've
Exactly.
always got their weight on half their back foot, and they're always thinking they can run. And that's when you actually completely encircle, or like you feign encircling your enemy, or
Mm-hmm.
you don't feign encircling your enemy, you feign not encircling your enemy, and then but in reality you actually encircled them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't reveal the trap until the last moment. They've revealed the trap
Yeah.
like
Like three and a
six
half
months
years
into
early.
this.
It's like, all right, well, we have at least 3.5 more years of this. And even if you do get rid of Trump, we'll have Vance. So Vance is like, I wouldn't say he's worse, but he's definitely a little more, I don't know, I would say coherent at this point. he,
Well, okay, that's a great question. Where do you think? Okay, like we were making fun of relentlessly
mm,
Biden's mental and physical health
mm,
over the last 4 years, but Trump is also the oldest president
yeah,
I think that's ever been president.
And he does
And
have these moments sometimes, whereas like he doesn't look so hot, or like something he says, like it's like a little bit of a jumble. Like it makes sense, but it's like the wrong order of words.
here's the thing: it's like with Biden, and this is where liberals were coming from. Was
Mm,
like, oh, he's always had like a little bit of a weird, speech impediment, speech cadence, or whatever.
mm,
If you know what he's talking about, you understand what he's saying. And so there's always this preposition, or the presumption that like,
mm,
oh, like we know Biden was talking about like how to uh what was one thing he was saying? It was like, oh, what's your mental acuity? And he's like, oh, I don't even think about the number. My mind is like a fly. And like out of context, you're like, this guy's totally lost. Like, what
yeah.
is he rambling about? And he's like, no, he's just kind of like out of order on talking. Like, clearly he is a little bit out of it,
Mm,
but he is having a thought there. Like, I understand the thought he's going for when he starts on that ramble,
mm,
even though like people made fun of him for it. Like, I know what he's saying. He's saying like, oh, I don't think of myself as older than a fly because I have so much like mental acuity. I'm always in the present because flies live so short. Like, it's actually kind of a higher level metaphor, but like he said it so jumbled, like
it
you're not
just
able to
came
pick
out
it up.
as yeah.
Yeah. And so like I'm like, oh, like I know what he was going for there. But like some people are just like, oh, like I don't even get the reference, and so and it's obviously out of order. So like he's totally senile, and I'm like, no, he's not like 100% senile. I'm just saying like, yeah, he's a little bit jumbled, out of order on that
Mm,
thought. Like he's thinking faster than he can talk, so he got ahead of himself on like saying the second part of the thought. And I think Trump's a little bit there.
a little bit.
Like,
He does still deliver some bangers. Like he was. You're aware of like how the Secretary of Defense Hesgeth brought all of the military leaders together and gave a speech. Well, I guess Trump also gave a part of a speech. And I checked this, and apparently he did actually have this conversation. But he was talking, for example, he was referring that he was the president. Okay, the president's speech touched on a number of other topics, including Biden's use of the auto pen, CNN, the Nobel Peace Prize, and his hope that he'd never have to use nuclear weapons. I call it the N word, Trump said. There are two N words, and you can't say any of them. So, either of them, excuse me. But he said this, and apparently none of the generals reacted at all. They just sat there like, which is funnier, is so much funnier.
I love that Trump treats nuclear as the
The N
same
word.
level of N word
Yeah.
as the
Which
actual
would
N-word.
be a hilarious thing to actually try to argue against, because I could already see how that would go. You'd be like, well, one is an offensive like slur, and the other one is also a scientific term. But it's like, yeah, but in the event of going nuclear, using nuclear weapons, like a nuclear apocalypse, arguably is worse than racism. Like it would severely affect minority populations. It would severely affect the trout population. Whereas saying the other N word really doesn't affect the trout population that much. So, I get
So
it. Ugh.
I I want to secretly believe that the reason he always calls it the N word is because he doesn't want to be caught like George Bush and pronounce it wrong.
Oh, jeez.
So he simply refuses to ever say it.
Nuke. Nu- the N word. I will not use N word weapons.
Nuclear.
I will not drop.
Nuclear.
I will not drop
Nuclear.
N words on Russia. Like, here's the thing. Either scenario there. Like, if you threaten to drop an N word on someone, it means you're either going to call them that word, you're going to nuke them, or you're going to drop actual, like, black people on them, which, depending on what country you're threatening, like, one of those threats carries significantly more weight than the other.
So how long? There's there's definitely betting odds on
Oh, how long it's going to be
the
shut down?
government shutdown.
Hmm.
How long do you
I
think
would say
it's
probably
gonna be shut down?
the rest of this week for sure. Because as far as I can tell, there's no. I don't think there is any
I
sort
thought on
of.
a Wednesday they shut down. Normally they shut down on a Friday,
Yeah,
but
usually like it's shut down and like they reopen on Monday. It's just like, oh wow, okay, that's convenient. You guys just gave yourself the weekend off. That's nice. But yeah,
oh, you
like
didn't work on the weekend.
I mean, it's possible they could come to some agreement that would restore funding like temporarily until they can come to another agreement, but then that temporary agreement will end and it will just restart. I don't know. It could go for a couple of days. Like it depends really at this point how much of a show they want to make of it. So,
Well, I've heard it phrased that like the dire crisis that each one is fighting against. Like the Republicans think that like the Democrats want funding for ACA to allow illegal immigrants to get ACA like healthcare.
mhm.
Um, whereas like I don't know what the Democratic complaint is at the moment aside from like what honestly yeah I need to look up like what is their justification for not agreeing to the Republican budget proposal.
Well, I don't know necessarily, but they're also saying that their agreement shouldn't matter that much because Republicans control like the White House and both houses of Congress. And I think what they're doing, they're holding out for funding for NPR. Um there are like there's a debate about them like wanting a provision to like continue healthcare services for illegal immigrants, which I have not been able to confirm. Oh, actually, I just remembered it'd be probably a good idea to check the chat.
Yeah, I've been chatting back with people in the
Word.
chat here.
What's up, Death Chelada? Hello,
Um,
Saint Luck. Sorry, guys. I'm just now realizing. Uh,
yeah, St. Luke said it's crazy how many politicians today are so old.
yeah.
We are going to see more politicians die in office in the next 5 years
Than
than we
anyone has
have the
ever
last
seen.
century, and it's going to be so insanely important who your state governor is because that is who appoints absent seats to the Congress
Yep.
in the next couple years. Um, and you'll be surprised how things shake out based on that,
Yeah.
along with like the redistricting that they're doing in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of states. Because they're like getting rid of the fairness rule to say like, oh, we needed like this percentage representation of like minorities basically in southern states.
Mm-hmm.
And like California is retorting and being like, oh yeah, we're gonna gerrymander the Republicans out from our congressional representation, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I get that you want to like counterbalance this scale, but like the scale is going to be like the difference between like a, New York and California alone,
Mm-hmm.
um, gerrymandering fully against what Republicans can do in the South is nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not even close, man. Like also New York, for example, has been on a steady population decline for a while now. Like they've been losing. I think
well,
they've
that
lost.
between that and the I think they want to do another census, like a 5 year census,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to declare the 10-year census invalid because they say that there were so many illegal immigrants, and like even the Census Bureau admits that like they overcounted and undercounted a lot of states,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at the data and it's like there is like a greater than 50% chance that if you were overcounted you were a Democrat state, and it's a greater than 50% chance that if you were undercounted you were a Republican state, and it's
Hmm.
like, oh,
Oh,
what a
wow.
coincidence.
Okay. What a coincidence. Wow.
uh,
All these coincidences that just enthuse me so much.
but yeah, it's always funny watching them play just like oh, we were really. Each of them pretends that they're playing by the rules, like they're playing dirty both sides
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, pretending to like outcry against the other one when they're like, oh yeah, this is not a thing. And this came up in work with me today, where it's like, oh, I applied for this like special events like alcohol permit 6 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 days before the event, I get a call like, oh, your permit's getting pulled, like you can't do the event anymore. And I'm like, okay, I gotta like withdraw like hundreds of dollars of advertising and like refund hundreds of dollars of tickets and stuff like that and all
Jeez.
this stuff. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Like, are you really sure that you need to pull this permit? Because it's like we we do this all the time, and it's like that was the thing I was considering to myself, was like, oh, power rules are not set up to be fair.
No,
Like
they're not.
I have a coworker. I have a coworker who's like, oh, if I say the magical order of words to make this thing happen, I can I can argue to like tell this person in power that like suddenly like the right thing will occur,
Mm-hmm.
that I want to out like the outcome I want will occur if I say the right order of words. And it's like, no, you cannot cast spells on people who just get to arbitrarily, like, the rules are designed that not about fairness. The rules are designed such that even if you do everything right, they can still find a way, if they want
Mm-hmm.
to revoke whatever you want to happen.
Yeah.
They can always exercise a final say. There's always some caveat that they can find to say, oh, yep, you're done. Okay. And it doesn't matter if you did it 16 times before or whatever. They're going to say, yeah, you can't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, I don't labor under the illusion. Like, I was not emotionally broken up about it. Even though this coworker of mine's like probably like 30 years older than me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, I can argue with them and make it all perfect again. And I'm like, no, we can ask politely if they would consider an alternate viewpoint or our viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if they just decide it's not kosher, then it's not kosher. Like, they have the final say. Like,
Yep.
we're asking permission. They have all the power. We don't. Um and yeah, like, don't think that you can find, there is no way to magically meet all of the rules here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you,
They're not
that is
designed
not,
that way.
it's not possible. It's never been possible. It's
Didn't they
just
like?
whether they like you or not.
Didn't they do a study once that like where they figured out like the average person commits between like 1 to 10 felonies a day and like doesn't actually realize it?
Yeah, I think it's 3 felonies a day or something
Yeah.
like that. And but yeah, it's just wild to me that people like go their whole lives apparently. And okay, here's the other thing that occurred to me is like, oh, they're a boomer, basically. They're almost retired,
Mm-hmm.
or they're like older Gen X. They're almost retired. Like, if they get fired, they're just gonna retire
Yeah.
early, and like maybe they won't get to take a couple vacations. Like, who gives a fuck for
Exactly.
them?
Yeah.
Here's for me, it's like, oh, if like something bad happens because I like filled out a government form wrong or something like that, like, shit.
Yeah.
I I'm like, I've got a mortgage that's not paid off. I've got car loan that's not paid off. Like, I've got decent savings for somebody my age and stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
like,
But like that will
I'd
go.
be searching for a job, and no job I have right now is gonna, or no job that's available is gonna pay as well. Where
Mm-hmm.
I have a mortgage that's affordable, like, yeah, like I can't just roll the dice on this stuff. Like, at a certain point, I just to be like, well, fuck, bro. Like, it's just like, if they say it's one way, I like, we got to tell, like, say, oh, sorry, yeah, I thought
Yeah.
we were doing the right thing.
Oops. Oh
My bad.
well. Yeah. That's why you got to pick one
Uh,
employee to take all the blame for all the other employees and sacrifice himself.
the scapegoat.
Yeah, they did that. I think it was during the filming of Tokyo Drift, the third Fast and the Furious movie. Like they picked a dude who was going to be the director because they couldn't get the permits to film on this one road in time, or the Japanese government just said no. So they did the filming, and they came to arrest the director, and it was just some dude who like agreed to go to jail in Japan for a little bit for like a pre-agreed amount
Yeah,
of money.
for like a week,
Yeah,
and
pretty
like,
much.
yeah, you're gonna get paid 30K. Like,
Exactly. It's just like, all right, sure, it's Japanese jail. How bad can it be?
honestly, I'll just swap some fun stories in the sauna with some Yakuza guys.
Exactly, yeah. So how'd you lose the finger? I talk too much. Wow. Can you tell me about it? No. oh, is there anything else we wanna touch on? I think we got the title, we got everything else. Let me look at the description, see what else. Shutdown, certain happenings, yeah, whatever. We got the meat and potatoes.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask you about uh, defense in church communities
Mm.
and stuff like that. And we kind of raised that
We
topic.
did a little bit, yeah. So like I can't speak for the other members of my congregation, but I always carry. And I am in Utah. I am also in a very red part of Utah. I am not in Salt Lake. So I would imagine at least half of the guys in church are also carrying. So I'm not concerned. Also, the church building is really like, it's not a normal like church. I think it used to be like, it was probably made for more of like a more commercial thing, but it's like a big sturdy brick building, and like there's lots of outer rooms around the main like audience hall, and you can't just drive a vehicle into it because it's like there's like landscaping and hills and like trees and shit in the way, so it's like it's not, you'd essentially have to do it in the front, which would get you into the lobby. And like there are individuals who are part of the church safety team, and like they're not in the lobby during service, like they're usually in the service room, like the big auditorium, but they're always back towards the doors. So like
Hmm.
there's things in the way. Essentially you have to get through a lot, and even if you get through all of that, you have a bunch of like men and fathers and husbands and just people protecting their friends and family and loved ones. So it's like good luck with that. And in the Mormon
Yeah.
churches too, like they're still carrying. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised you think the carry rate's as high as 50%.
Maybe not
But
50%, like probably not, maybe more like 20%, but like there's at least enough that are like I.
'cause I remember when I ran the stats back in Colorado, and this was like 10, 15 years ago almost.
Mm,
Um, that like Colorado, it was 1 in 12 adults had a carry permit,
mhm,
and like that might not even people who carry every day. It might be people who just carry, like have a license to carry, right?
mhm,
Um, and it doesn't count people who carry without a permit, right?
mhm,
But
mhm,
uh, like like if you average them out, I bet it's about a wash, right?
mhm,
So yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, if you think of 1 in 12 adults, like the thing is when you concentrate a large group of people who tend to not have concealed carry permits
mhm,
or aren't in the demographic that carries, we're gonna have, say, children, or we're gonna have, mostly women and stuff like that. Those are the groups that experience the highest rates of like actual mass shootings
mhm.
that like go beyond like four and go to the high casualty rates, right? And where are those places? Schools,
Schools.
basically.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I just carry. I'm
Yeah.
glad we're there's a lot of states making progress on campus carry
Mhm.
and on school carry, but ultimately, like when I look at schools as a government program, it is the function to actually give your child like an employable skills at the end of 12 years
Mm,
and 24,000 hours of instruction,
doesn't seem like it.
or is the function to put them in front of like a propaganda machine and then make them completely disarmed so that sporadic, psychos can kill them at will.
And their death
And
then can be
they
used
can
by the
argue
state.
so that their death can be used by the state. And it's like I wish that weren't the case, but like the system is what it does. And so like to me right now most public schools seem to be a way to just concentrate children into a
Sacrificial
killing
zones.
arena.
It's
It's
like we're
altar, if you will.
an altar of some sorts, like almost like we're going back to Mesoamerican roots and engaging in child sacrifice so the sun will rise. Maybe.
Honestly, that'd be a great question. I know it wouldn't work on a per capita basis, and which
Mhm.
is what actually matters, but on a raw numbers basis, like how many kids were sacrificed in
In,
Aztec
in Aztec land
atrocities?
versus how many kids have died in school shootings or just shootings
So
in general.
and and it's like after the fact, like when we get occupied by China,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be like, we give you real freedom. You could smoke cigarettes indoors and
What you saw that? Did I send you that video? Like the
yeah,
comedian?
you
Yeah.
sent me that. I'm trying to remember it right now.
No more
Uh,
gays. You can smoke inside. It's like, hey, wait a minute. That doesn't sound so bad.
we get glorious Chairman Xi Jinping. Please send
please send your Chengdu J-20
fighter.
fighters.
25 fighters to liberate us from oppressive Walmart rulers.
Please send your Chengdu fighters to liberate us from the oppressive orange. I like during the Biden administration, it was the rat of Scranton.
So when we get liberated, like we'll have all this ex post facto like propaganda about like, oh yeah, like the American government allowed routine child sacrifice. They just needed to give the local, schizophrenic kid, at least a dozen kills.
To force policy, their capitalistic policy. Oh God.
Cocaine was a sacrificial, or cocaine was a essence.
A sacred medicine taken by the business class in order to commit spells and manipulate the market. Voting was a ritualistic dance civilians would do in order to attempt to sway the outcome of what their government did.
Hey, it used to be really primitive. You would cut open a goat to make it not rain.
Yeah.
And now, if you vote for the right politician, they will adjust the marginal tax rate so that it won't be too hot in 50 years.
Maybe they should just like throw all appearances aside and just embrace like the paganistic satanic bullshit and just start doing like divination in Congress. Like instead of like voting on something, they'll propose a bill and they'll bring like an ox up onto the podium and they'll pick who's the Speaker of the House right now. I don't know, but he'll be the one who has to like
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson will have to kill the ox, and then they'll have the minority leader come up and divine the entrails. So is that Chuck Schumer?
Well, okay, no. It'd be the other way around. You'd have the Speaker have to divine the
entrails. Okay, so no, actually, you would make
policy.
And you would make the minority leader kill the ox. Yes, because they would take the trauma. It's like killing the chicken and putting your sins into it. And then the Speaker of the House.
Slow down there, Nick. All right.
Would divine the entrails, and if the intestines were tumor free, it was a sign that the bill should pass. Or if the entrails were cancerous, the bill would not pass. That's how.
Unironically, that is a lot of how the old Roman Republic worked.
Yeah. The official that job, I believe, is called a harpasex.
Yeah.
Is like someone who literally sacrifices and divines entrails. And I think that's what we should go back to, honestly. We should just have harpasexes that determine policy. That seemed to work.
it'd be less arbitrary,
Mhm.
and it would allow for less insider trading.
Yeah, which, to be fair, we already kind of do that to a degree. Like, we don't kill the groundhog, but we do divine the shadow of the groundhog to determine how many more weeks of winter we're going to have in February, which we have 6 calendar weeks anyway, so it's completely pointless. But we still do the ritual because we think it'll have an outcome on how weather will be. So,
Isn't it fucked up that there's like 6 months named for a number, and or none of them actually correspond to the number of the month anymore?
yeah,
Sorry, there's at least three, right? Like October, November, December. Yeah, all the others have names for god gods or
gods are,
people.
yeah.
Um, yeah, isn't it fucked up? Like,
Mhm.
can't we just shift 2 months ahead so that December is the 10th month, and then January and February are the 11th and 12th month?
That would,
That's
yeah.
if you didn't know, that's the origin of April Fool's Day. Is that April 1st used to be the first day of the year,
Hmm.
and
We
December
also, I,
December used to be the 10th month.
I remember something once. There's like, apparently there is a calendar that's like, I don't know if it's like 13 months and every month has like 28 days or something like that, but it would be 13 months and every month would have the exact same number of days, and it would just be completely
Yeah,
evenly divided.
yeah, and that works, except you need a leap day every um what am I thinking here? Because 28 times 13 is 364. So you would need a spare day
Hmm.
at the end of the year, which is fine. Like, that's
I
way
would just,
easier than having alternating 30 and 31 day months, and
exactly.
1 month with
You
28
could,
days, but
you could
sometimes
also,
21
like,
days.
that extra day could just be like a non-day. Like, it'd be technically the day between New Year's
Oh,
Eve
you
and New
go
Year's
eat
Day.
Indian food
Yeah, you go eat
on a
Indian
non
food.
day?
A non-day, exactly. Yeah. God damn. But no, it's just a day where nothing's open. You don't do anything. It's like an international day
Well,
of rest. Get
that
stop
that was
eating that.
originally supposed to be the days between Christmas and New Year's, where the festival of Saturnalia, where you would
Mm-hmm.
have all
Just
the debts would be forgiven, and then you'd have, um, slaves were given temporary freedom, and then yeah, it was just like upside down days, basically.
all
They're
right.
like, it's
We'll let you. We'll free you guys.
non-existent time.
We'll free you guys for a few days, but you have to promise to come back. Okay?
Like, uh, slavery was a little different back in the day.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Um, like,
It
it
was
wasn't
nobler.
the way we understand chattel slavery in the American South.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah. All right.
Scooby,
Any
do you
other
have?
closing thoughts before we wrap up here?
Actually, I was gonna check and see. Scooby, do you have anything you want to add? No, nothing. He's just like trying to claw the microphone. All right, dude. All right. No, I got nothing else. We covered all the topics. This has been a healthy episode. We're an hour and yeah, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. This has been good. Well, whoa. Max, I don't know if you're gonna hear that, but that just probably came over. Scooby hit the right key, and it just got like a series of window cascading noises. Just I don't know if that'll come over or not, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Altar. We hope you stay safe out there because it seems like we're entering a period of like heightened psychopath interactions and events and coincidental things. So another thing I wanted to kind of mention that I just found a little funny. You read the news report about how EA was recently privately acquired, and a big investor in that essentially is Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you remember how a couple episodes back we were talking about the Las Vegas shooting and how there was a connection between the Saudi royal family and Las Vegas? Guess what today is? I don't know if it.
Oh, is it the anniversary of the?
No, it is. Let me double check this before I say it. Steve.
I was gonna say, like, the EA getting acquired by the Saudis. It's like,
Oh no,
how
yeah, it was. Today is the anniversary because he died today, October 1st.
Wow.
Wow.
I was gonna say, what's the point of customizing the women's face in Sims anymore if they just have to
They're
wear
just going to be
veils the entire
burkered, yeah.
time?
Oh, dude, imagine like the literal talk right now that I have seen on sites like IGN and shit is that BioWare is worried it's going to shut down because it's been too gay. And Saudi Arabia's like, you see the meme I posted? It's like, hello, new employees. Today we will be editing the rainbow flags out of everything because they are haram. Oh, man. All right. Well, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for a lovely episode. We will be back hopefully next week. My work schedule is once again shifting around, but maybe we'll pick a different day or fuck it. I'll just grin and bear it. So, again, stay safe out there. If you're going to go to church, you should probably conceal carry, but be smart about it. Oh, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, taxation is theft.